Hello, YouTube. Hello, social media. So we're back here tonight. Just a short video. Not really going to go an hour tonight with the libtards and nut job story hour that I put out there. But maybe this is just maybe one of the follies that we're going to see here, courtesy of ABC News. All right, so let's get right to it and take a look here.
The trade war and what officials call a substantial progress in talks to lower U.S. tariffs in China. The White House is calling it a trade deal, but so far not releasing any details. China has yet to comment. Right now, the U.S. has a 145% tariff on.
And I want you to listen to the smugness, the language that is used here. And, we're no longer, I've tried being polite. I tried to understand. I'm like, wait a minute, let's try to digest this. Let's pick it apart. Let's analyze it. But it's time. It's beyond time to push back on the narrative and on the language. We need to listen to the language used in this video.
On imports from China, while China has its own 125% tariff on imports from the U.S. I want to get right to senior White House correspondent Selena Wang, who's been following this.
Of course, she's Chinese, right?
For us from Washington. Selena, are the U.S. and China on the same page when it comes to lowering these tariffs? And what could this mean for prices of Chinese goods here?
Yeah, Phil, well, we're still expecting a full readout of this. According to U.S. officials, there should be a full briefing tomorrow. But as of now, still so many details unknown here. To your point, the White House is calling this a trade deal, but they've offered no specifics.
Just because the information's unknown doesn't mean it's negative. And she should know better as a journalist.
Also don't know if either country has agreed to lower their steep tariffs. And in announcing this, the White House shared statements from the U.S. Trade Representative as well as from the Treasury Secretary. The U.S. Trade Rep says that they reached an agreement very quickly.
But yet there's no details.
Take a listen to what else he said.
Just remember why we're here in the first place. Is the United States has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. So the president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs. And we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency.
But Phil, in the Treasury Secretary's statement, he stopped short of touting a full deal, but saying that substantial progress has been made. This comes as we
stop short, but he gave details on progress being made. Which is it? Either it's positive or it's negative. Because you work for ABC News with Martha Raddatz as your coworker, of course you're not going to give full benefit and full cadence to what the actual information is. You don't have to be so smug and arrogant and talk the way you are. Come on.
Still wait for an official response from Beijing. We are expecting a press conference from the Chinese in Switzerland any moment now. But as of now, those 145% tariffs on Chinese goods still remain. But sources tell us that the administration believes this is a step towards lowering those tariffs.
Selena, President.
Yeah, blink your eyes again like you don't believe what you're reporting.
Trump leaves tomorrow for a pretty crucial Middle East trip. It comes as sources are telling ABC News President Trump is expected to accept this super luxury jet from Qatar to be used as the new Air Force One.
Who says it's going to replace Air Force One? Look at this guy on the left. It's like, yeah, I don't believe what I just said either.
I'm wondering how significant is that, and what are the president's goals on this trip outside of receiving that massive gift?
Yeah, so when it comes to receiving that luxury plane, it certainly raises questions about whether or not it is legal for the Trump administration.
Questions by who?
To accept such a valuable gift from a foreign power. But sources are telling us that the White House and Department of Justice have concluded that because the gift is not conditioned on any official act, it doesn't constitute bribery. But when it
Why would it constitute bribery? If it doesn't constitute bribery at all, and there's nothing substantial to indicate bribery, then why would it be bribery? Why even use that word? Seriously.
Comes to this broader trip to the Middle East, it certainly signifies this growing political and economic relationship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia under this Trump administration. You'll remember, Phil, that in Trump's first term, he also chose Saudi Arabia as the first place to visit for his first major foreign trip, skipping over again America's closest neighbors in a break with tradition. Now, this trip does come as...
he went there before in 2016. Big deal. What's the deal? I mean, why? He didn't go to our closest allies. He didn't do what former presidents have done. Therefore, we have to ridicule the current 47th president on his choices of where to go in the Middle East. I mean, the mover and shakers is Saudi Arabia. It's not some pissant country anyway.
Saudi Arabia and the Gulf region has served as a critical mediator for many conflicts around the world, including the war in Ukraine, with Saudi Arabia being a venue for separate U.S. talks with both Ukraine and Russia. In addition to that, the conflict in Gaza will also loom large over his meetings.
And Selena, while I have you...
blink again. Look at her.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is headed to Turkey this week as he pushes for this new ceasefire with Russia, and he is daring President Putin to meet him there. What's the latest on this?
Yeah, Phil, let's just step back and just let me give you the full context here. So for the first time, we're seeing the Trump administration and European allies come together and essentially present Putin an ultimatum, demanding that he accept a 30-day ceasefire that starts on Putin an ultimatum, demanding that he accept together and essentially present Putin an ultimatum, demanding that he come together and essentially present Putin an ultimatum, demanding that he accept a 30-day ceasefire that starts on Monday, or they'll increase sanctions on Russia and increase military aid to Ukraine. Putin responded, essentially ignoring and dismissing that 30-day ceasefire, but saying that he's willing to start negotiations with Ukraine on May 15th in Istanbul. In response to that, Ukraine's Zelensky says Ukraine is ready to meet, but reiterated that there should be a ceasefire starting on Monday. Now, President Trump, he is also weighing in, posting on Truth Social that Ukraine should agree to meet to determine whether or not a deal is possible, adding that if a deal is not possible, European leaders and the U.S. will know where everything stands and they'll know how to proceed from there.
All of this while we continue to see devastation in Ukraine.
From there.
All of this while we continue to see devastation in Ukraine. All right.
Right. So what does, devastation in Ukraine and this meeting and what they're about to talk about is, the ongoing issues in Palestine. Watch.
All right, Selena, thank you.
Yeah, they mentioned it previously about, they tie all these things together. And, it's supposed to be news, but there's more negativity than ever before in what they're saying, how they're saying it, the smugness, what they want you to believe. Again, they want you to believe in someone else's narrative. All right, think for yourself. Have a good day. And as always, thank you for watching.